Okay, this is not a required viewing, and the nitty gritty of the final and end of course information I will provide in writing. So, and I also made myself an agenda, so I cannot follow this along. Believe it or not, when I taught foundations in person, I taught it as a seminar course, which I think it should be taught like that. It's more fun for all of us to talk. But I had an agenda and all looked all pretty for every class. So once upon a time, there was structure. Anyway, so I thank you so much for being in my class this semester. I know foundations, it's a bit of it's just a slug. There's only so much I can do with it. I'm trying to rework the assignments and some of the readings, but it's one of those, we have core courses, so you have to cover certain areas. But I hope you read something that was interesting to you, or led you to something else that was interesting, like I do with references. When I read something, I look at the references and like, oh, this is really neat. So I hope you got something out of the course and got an introduction to me. I teach a couple of courses. I've been teaching foundations in the public library for a while since I've been here. So the public library I teach in the spring. And if you're doing a public library concentration, I don't really think you need to do a concentration, but that's up to you. It's one of the few required courses, but I enjoy that class because it's a little more practical. And so we do stuff, we have assignments about, we plan a program, we deal with the budget being slashed dramatically, just stuff that I've had students actually take away some of the assignments and implement them in their libraries, which is super fun to hear. And I teach the management of library collections. I taught it in the fall for the first time all by myself. Sound like a child. But I usually teach in the summer. This will be the third summer. I co-taught it with Dr. Lipinski, who is one of my mentors and just a brilliant, legal library scholar. So if you can take a course with him next fall or spring, if you're interested in information ethics, intellectual freedom, information policy, and he has some public library background, as his wife recently retired. She was a director for one of the Milwaukee public libraries. And my trauma-informed librarian course is actually on the schedule for the fall. Believe me, I did not think this would happen because scheduling courses I don't know how the sausage is made. It's a hot mess back that's between higher admin and different voices want different things taught. Certain courses need to be covered, and people leave. And anyway, so trauma-informed librarianship. It's a special topics course right now, and this happens sometimes. Courses stay special topics just if the instructor wants to teach it a couple times. A course like community archives, it started off as a special topics course. I'm about 97% because I was on the committee when it was moved to not a real live course, but every consistent course that would appear in the course catalog. So this will be the first semester for this, and I'm already doing thinking my public library brain is marketing. How am I going to market this? Flyers, social media. Just to make sure I have a good group and show that people are interested, which there have been people, there are students that have expressed interest, and some I met with, I'll talk about it in a minute, once met with the director and the associate director of strategic initiatives and public services at the Milwaukee Public Library, that stunning central library. If you have not been down there, it's gorgeous. And they just started their green rooftop gardens. A friend and we're gonna go. We just have to figure it out. Completely free tour, and you can also, there's a tour of the library because it's a beautiful building architecturally. So if you're interested in the trauma class, you can email me or you can just sign up. I have the syllabus. It's all shiny and pretty because it had to be. I wanted it to be as shiny and pretty as it could be. I'm going to play around. It's set right now, it's online asynchronous. I really want it to be more of a hybrid course. I know the School of Ed has a couple of courses they do that way. So I want it to be more of a seminar course rather than assignment discussion board, because with stuff like trauma, with a lot of different things we also talk about within our curriculum, it doesn't lean well towards a discussion-based platform, just posts. But that's a work in progress. But I'm stubborn, so we'll see. Book summary, currently reading that most of them fit within the library world. I just got back from, I did my little, I call it it's my self-care moment. The East Side Public Library is, I'm sorry, I don't know, there's always like a dumpster or something going on in front of my windows around this time of day, every day. So hopefully you can hear me well enough. So I went to the public library just to see what they had and drop off some books. And I wasn't wearing this library shirt. I was wearing a sweatshirt. Libraries are essential, and none of the staff said anything, which is fine. But I picked up. I didn't realize this had just come out. I'd heard about it. Disability Intimacy: Essays on Love, Care, and Desire. And it's I love a collection of essays. Once I got into my mid-20s, I was like, oh, essays and short stories. Those are fun. It's edited by Alice Wong, who wrote Disability Visibility. It's also a great Instagram account to follow. She's amazing. Her disability advocacy, she's just, her voice, her writing voice, and just her voice as somebody who's disabled and trying to show the world that, hey, there needs to be more done for disabled people within this world, this country, and in particular, women and people of color. So this is, Disability Visibility is really great. It's a nonfiction about disability that she wrote herself, most part memoir, part advocacy work. She also has a regular column she writes for Teen Vogue. Again, Teen Vogue is bringing it the past couple years. She talks a number of areas related to disability, but also feminism, what's going on in the world. She's just a great voice to follow. I'm just having fun showing people my books. And if you grew up in a certain time period like I did, or DK, I've seen this book a couple of times when I went to the library, and I was like, I seemed oversimplification of ADHD, because I've been reading all these academic tech books and intense nonfiction about ADHD on like a more neuroscience, biological, just heavy. then I realized DK. Those books of when I was a kid loved so much. Ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, pagan customs. The books I'm talking about. The DK. They had great illustration or great pictures, and so say what you have to say about the person, my ADHD. Find someone to talk to. I mean, it's a good point. And I think this is the last that's not related. That's the end. Just picked up 2 books. Good for me. I highly recommend this if you are neurodiverse, and I'm almost done with it. I forgot how it was recommended to me. Oh, no. Somebody on Twitter, because we had been discussing what it's like to be, what people say in the neurodiversity community when you're coming from a very blue-collar working class background, such as myself, and when a lot of the voices talking about neurodiversity are from middle class, upper middle class, and so our voices get left out. Being poor causes some issues when you're trying to seek out mental health or any kind of health care. But Robert Chapman, he's an assistant professor in King's College London and Bristol University. But I love it because he's autistic, and he's very upfront, like that he's neurodiverse. More and more in my research, I'm reaching for scholars that identify as neurodiverse explicitly, or make it clear that they include neurodivergent individuals within the research. Like they have a scholar, like one of their research assistants is neurodivergent, or some of them are neurodivergent in different capacities, or disabled, or because again, something I've been talking about with a number of colleagues who do disability and neurodiversity research. A lot of the voices, particularly in autism, are researchers talking about people with autism. And that's incredibly questionable from just a data standpoint. Like, are you really not getting the full picture, because these are people talking about the experiences of other people. I haven't started this one, but Nothing About Us Without Us is started off as a autism kind of not a mantra, but slogan sounds corporate, but it's something that they make sure they're included in the conversation. So disability, oppression, and empowerment. I had heard good things about this book as well, but it looks very academic. I got it at our library. This is a book I'm reading because I want to take a chapter or 2 out of it for trauma-informed class, an everyday guide to caring for self while caring for others. And I think this is also very applicable in public librarianship, school librarianship, just working with people. It's important to take care of yourself when you're taking care of other people. And it's often been overlooked, but this book is very good. Finally, perhaps you've heard, or maybe in one of my readings, or a reading from another course, you've heard of the concept of libraries as a third space or a third place, or something along those lines. It's been hyped a lot because the definition of third space, as proposed by sociologist Ray Ottenberg in his The Good Place, or The Great Good Place, where he kind of developed the idea of the third place. And so when he wrote this in 1989, when it first came out, coffee shops, beauty parlors, bars, and cafes were the area he focused on, particularly like beer gardens and beer halls, and how they get you through the day. So it's interesting. It's just cited so much in LAS because the library as a third place is, it just clicks off. There's several markers of a third place. It's not work, it's not home, it's inexpensive or free. People gather there to meet, chat, just hang out. It's all about community and just conversation, existing in a space that doesn't expect you to buy something or do something. It's just an environment that has existed, or a place that has existed for as long as it seems people have been existing in some kind of social capacity. And he talks about the grassroots of democracy at the public spaces, because what did he mention? He talks about free. Nobody is. It's a little idealistic, somewhat, in his like voices. You can come and go as you please. Voices aren't excluded. But what I found, I just recently started this, because more recently, past 5 to 7 years, I've heard criticism of the idea of, particularly libraries, of the third space. And I was like, I wonder what the criticism is about, because everything I've read, like, makes sense. So I got this from our library, and I was browsing through it, and I don't write in library books. I'm just gonna work. But I do love finding a book that has something written in it, especially used books. But so I'm going to start at chapter 12 instead of starting at the beginning. The sexes and the third place, because third place is for women. And this was written in 1989. I mean, the way he speaks about women and how they engage with one another and with men, with anybody, sounds like somebody from the 50s, 1960s. I just love, I'm assuming a female made some comments. She's like, oh, my favorite is, where did I don't think so. And I'm very curious. I want to know this person more. Third place is exclusively for women or dominated by women have not been much in evidence in the United States. Already, that's no. Though women have had and continue to have an advantage over men in the spare time available to them, they use this time to cultivate other forms of association. I'm really curious what he has to say about women. As a white dude, a professor of sociology in Pensacola, Florida. But I would remind him of this book because I think this is very random. I just wanted to share it. I was watching Fundy Fridays on YouTube Saturday morning. It's a channel about fundamentalism, and they dissect, as somebody who grew up evangelical, Southern Baptist, I love a good dissection of fundamentalism, religious practices, and like questioning a lot about how they work, why people leave them. So they cover a broad spectrum of mostly Christianity, from like the Duggars, the families that believe in what is they're saying, essentially they believe God wants them to have as many children as possible, to add more to the flock, to preach the gospel. And that's turned into some kind of political agenda now. And he also, the woman who started this, now her husband also contributes, but he does more of political kind of fundamentalist talk. So it's a lengthy video, longer than their normal ones. But so if you don't want, it's called Kirk Cameron's War on the American Library: Politics, Morality, and Religion. And I like it that why can I think of? I'm just bad with names. He talks to a librarian, Dakota. What does it say? Dakota Holmes, and just a great conversation hearing from her, an actual public librarian, and so. Some of it is political, so if you don't want to hear about that, just skirt through midway, because he does dive into the story of libraries, a bit more about Carnegie, the funding of libraries, and I've always, as a lot of people have, like Carnegie funding public libraries, just because he wanted everybody to read, or just some very rose-colored glasses thing. No, Carnegie was a kind of he was a robber baron, and possibly the wealthiest person who has ever existed. So it has some great historical context for libraries, like how they moved from subscription libraries to public libraries, and then like actually free public libraries, and segregation, and women not being allowed in libraries, kind of talking about women being in their own space that's suitable for them. But I do love the conversation, the interview between James and Dakota, who is a trans librarian. And she talks about how being in a public library has exposed her to books. Like, she had no concept of what trans meant, and it just opened the world for her to, like, there are other ways of thinking, other ways of being, other ways to see yourself, and also showing you're not alone in the person you are. And I can definitely relate to that as a library kid who've learned so much about themselves just being in the library, being in that space, and reading books, all the books, whatever books, all topics. Thankfully, as religious as my parents are, never put limitations on my reading. So that's Fun Day Friday. Honestly, Fun Day Friday is a good follow if you like me have scars from a religious upbringing. It's a good one. Jen is just hilarious, and it's fun to see some of the takes. I will say that James comes at it. His view is from a patron standpoint. He does say, and I'm like quoting, "Libraries are perfect," and I was like, no. I mean, we know libraries aren't perfect. Nothing is perfect. That perfect is not a real concept. So he does have his own rose-colored glasses, which, if you're a patron, and you've worked in libraries, people that come in and they see the bright sunny spots, the story times, and the teaching older adults how to use genealogy databases that are owned and run by the LDS Church. Also a topic I want to get to. It's another course. But, so the libraries are amazing. They're great places, but they're not perfect. And so I think it's good to know, and he very much is talking about visit your local library, and just a great advocate for libraries. So I do appreciate anyone who does that, because we don't have enough people advocating for us. So I'll share that. It is almost 3 hours long, but I was just really curious to hear what a non-librarian, a public member of the public. Yeah. So this is some of the books, or that's what I'm reading. Again, The Good Place is, if you haven't heard about the libraries as a third space, you will at some point. And actually, I read in the Funny Fridays video, James goes back to an interview with Ray about he's asked what are the most important third places now in libraries, because he didn't mention libraries at all in this. But libraries are the first place he mentioned. I'm like, yeah. So I'll link a couple of things. Yeah, I'm really, it's been a long semester. Lots of things have been going on and are apparently going on outside my apartment. So I will, please stay in touch. I know you all are foundation, so you'll be around for a while. Okay, I like to keep my videos 30 minutes or under. Please reach out, take courses. I'm also working on because I'm going up for tenure, so that's what this summer will be, me doing very tedious work on, I wrote this, and here's a PDF of it, and attaching it to this intense folder, or dossier, as I'm calling it. It's my tenure dossier. So critical librarianship is a course that I know the SOIS faculty and students have been asking for. It was taught critical approaches to public librarianship, but they want, and I want critical librarianship just across LAS, not specific to public librarianship, and not so much attention on politics and legal aspects. I mean, that'll be a component, but so we'll talk about archives and museums and public academic special collections, all kinds of stuff. Again, the show choir kid, you cannot resist jazz hands. So please keep in touch. I'll be around by email. And again, I'm teaching this summer, teaching foundations again in the fall, and trauma-informed. I also, if you are interested, I know it's still early for most of you, we have field work, internships, and independent study, which you can have instead of taking a course. I'm doing surveying. I'm faculty supervisor for an independent study right now, and one in the fall. And I've done quite a number of them, and even field work. So if you need faculty supervisor, I'm always curious to see what is going on in the library world, especially with field work. But make sure you get internship you get paid. That is important. Get paid for your work. We can talk about that, but yeah. So I'm around. I'll be on campus. I'll be there. You all probably won't be there for the reception for graduates, but it's exciting. I always go just to see students for the first time, sometimes in person. Yeah, look at that. I stuck to my agenda. Ending. Thank you. Keep in touch. So, please don't hesitate to reach out. Students sometimes say, I don't mean to bother you, or you're not bothering me. This is part of my job, and I also want to help you in however I can. So, ending notes. Geez, I have a lot of books. And, you can see all the books behind me. That's not even all of them. Have a fantastic day, morning, whenever you watch this. but I'll check in again just as a Canvas announcement on you all, because our final paper is due the 19th. I like to give you all, I always, for foundations, add an extra week past what is normally the deadline for our course assignments or the final assignments, because you're probably doing something for another course and too many papers all at once. I've already gotten some emails from my public library students, so I think I'm going to move there. Just take time, more time. As long as I can get all the papers, everything graded by the 24th of May at 4 p.m. Central, exactly. Get those submitted to UWM. We're solid. Well, have a great summer and do something good for yourself, whatever that looks like. Maybe taking a break or continuing with courses like the student I was. I just did not stop with classes. But thank you again. I appreciate your work, and I appreciate learning from you through the discussion boards and your assignments. I do value that as somebody who hasn't been in the field in quite some time. Am I turning on a Midwest goodbye? Jeez. Have a lovely day.